What's going on? We are looking at systems of equations using the substitution method. Hercules is here with me. We're going to look at how to solve systems of equations using the substitution method. All right, this is also what we call algebraically. We're not going to graph these. We're going to solve this all with algebra, so it's not going to be like a picture with graphs. It's not going to be like apparent what the answer is. Like, you're just going to have to solve it based on principles of equality and based on principles of algebra. All right, so we're going to take what this gives us. So remember what our final goal is. We're going to write down here in ordered pair. Our answer is going to be in ordered pair. We're going to figure out what x is, figure out what y is. Hercules, what does it say that y equals? What does y equal right there?
X negative 1.
X minus 1. So knowing that y equals x minus 1, in the second equation down here at the bottom, wherever we see a y, we can put x minus 1 because that's what y equals. So we would rewrite it as we're going to rewrite it as 2x minus 3, but where we see a y, we're going to put a parentheses because we always put a parentheses in for a variable when we substitute a number or some terms in for a variable. So we're going to put y equals in here for this parentheses. That's x minus 1. Hercules, you see that? Yeah. Now, we can always solve an equation that has one variable. I know it's written down twice, but it's the same variable. So we are now going to distribute negative 3 to everything that's inside the parentheses. That's the distributive property. So we're going to say 2x. That just comes down here. We're not multiplying that. Negative 3 times x is negative 3x. Negative 3 times negative 1 is positive 3. And that equals negative 1. So now we're going to do our boxes. We're going to do our integer room and our variable room. We're going to put the variables on one side. We're going to put the integers on another. And when we change the side, we're going to change the sign. We're not changing sides with the 2x and the 3x, so we're going to drop it right down there in that box. Not changing the side. This negative 1, we're not changing it either, so it's going to stay negative 1. But this positive 3, when we change the side, it's going to come over here and make it negative 3. So now what we have is 2x minus 3x, which is, what's 3 minus 2, Hercules?
1.
So what's 2 minus 3?
What do you mean?
What's 2 minus 3? What do you mean, what do I mean? Negative 1, all right? So you divide this side by negative 1, because you're saying which number times negative 1 gives me negative 4. We're going to divide both sides by negative 1, and you get x equals, what's a negative divided by a negative?
Positive.
Yeah, so that gives you 4. Oh, you can't even see that. It's off the screen. Negative 4 divided by negative 1 gives you positive 4. So our x value is 4. So we're going to put that in for x because x comes before y in our ordered pair. That's where our x goes. Now, how do we figure out what y is? Well, if we know that x is 4, we can go back to any one of those equations that's up top, and we're going to put a 4 in for x. So let's just take the first one. It looks like it's a lot easier. You'd say y equals, and then instead of putting x minus 1, you're going to say 4 minus 1 because that's what x equals. What is 4 minus 1? 3. So we know that our y value is 3, our x value is 4. This is the only point in which both equations would be satisfied by. So it's a solution to both equations. All right, if I plug an x, a 4 in for x here, and a 3 in for y here, the left-hand side would equal the right-hand side. And if I put a 4 in here, 4 minus 1, of course, gives us 3, so it satisfies the first equation too. All right, that's the substitution method. Yeah. All right, let's do another one. We got time for one more. Okay, so we got y equals negative 3x plus 5. And then we got 5x minus 4y equals negative 3. Here's where our answer is going to go. What does y equal? You.
Oh, it's is that negative?
All of
minus?
this. Yeah, negative. It's the same thing.
Same thing? Okay.
Yeah.
So minus 3x plus 5.
Yeah, man. So n for y, we're going to put what y equals, which is negative 3x plus 5. We're going to say that equals negative 3. So we just rewrote this second equation, but wherever we saw y, we put negative 3x plus 5. So we're going to bring the 5x down. Negative 4 times negative 3x, that's positive 12x. Negative 4 times 5 gives us negative 20. Equals negative 3. So y'all are going to know pretty soon or pretty quickly if you did something wrong because you would get an answer that is a fraction or a decimal. Is it possible to get an answer that's a fraction or a decimal? Of course, but I'm not going to give you one like that, all right? You got to understand the concepts of what's going on here first, and then we'll start getting into that. So we didn't change the side, so we didn't change the sign. We get 5x plus 12x, and then over here we get negative 3, and we're going to change the sign of that 20. It was negative. It comes over here, comes positive. 12x plus 5x is 17x. Negative 3 plus 20 is 17. And Hercules, which number times 17 gives you 17? Yeah, if you said 0, I was going to be upset. X equals 1. So we're going to put a 1 right in there for x. So now we're going to, in for y, we got to solve for what y equals. Well, let's just take the first equation here. Let's take this guy. And we're going to figure out what y is when x equals 1. So we're going to put a 1. Oh, come on now. I don't know why it's not working up there. We're going to say y equals negative 3 times 1. Why is it doing that? Negative 3 times 1 is negative 3, and negative 3 plus 5 would give you 2. So you get y equals 2. So we're going to put a 2 in here down for y, because that's what y equals, okay? If y'all have any questions, you're going to come back and see me. Maybe rewind it, pause it, figure it out that way. If you don't understand, come ask Hercules, because he is the man. In fact, if you tell Hercules that he's the man, if you're the first person, you get 5 bonus points in your next quiz. All right, do the next right thing. I believe in you.